Welcome to the continuing saga of Marv's mini split fiasco and all of the challenges and issues that I have faced in trying to get these things worked. I continue to troubleshoot, I continue to work, and I guess the big question is, did I figure it out? Let's go see. Well, welcome back everyone. I think I have made some tremendous progress. Ho ho! Alright, so I got to show you something that I engineered that has actually allowed me to figure out and find out where my leaks are. If you see my gauge right here, you can see that I'm sitting just above 60 psi. I will tell you that I have leaks in the system. I know where they are. It started out at 70, it's dropped down to 60. I've already fixed one of them, and I am going to show you the apparatus that I engineered pretty much while I was sleeping, to be honest with you. But I engineered an apparatus that has allowed me to pressurize my line sets through the entire loop so that I can figure out where my leaks are. So with that, I'm gonna swing the camera around and show you what I got done. Alright, so if you look right here, this is a fitting in an air hose that is coming directly from my air compressor. This is a fitting that allows me to connect my air hose to everything else. 3/8 inch copper, 3/8 inch T. This is a fitting that goes from flare to 1/4 inch male iron pipe and allows me to connect this fitting. This is a 3/8 inch copper line that allows me to connect to my service port entrance right here. I've got a T. This is my line set that goes up into the bus to the outside unit, goes through the entire loop, and comes back around to here. So one of the things that I will tell you that I figured out, guys, is that these problems has actually saved me a lot of problems in the future. These fittings right here are made for water. They're made for air. They are not made for high pressure situations, which is what an air conditioner is. These problems have saved my ass because I have realized that these are the wrong fittings and these are part of my problem. So please note the difference between that and that. This is actually a fitting that came with my line set for the high pressure circumstances. So what I had to do, this particular fitting right here was right here. So I had one right there, I replaced it, it was leaking, it's no longer leaking. I just sprayed this with soap so that if there was a leak you'd be able to see it. Please note back here that I have one of those other fittings. I am getting ready to disconnect this, take that off, cut that flare out, re-flare it, and put this on the end of it so that it will actually be a high pressure fitting. I also have one on the inside that I need to do. One of the other problems that I have is I have this line set right here that connects from my service port to my T. Well, unfortunately, I am going to have to break this after I do my 1/4 inch fittings and make sure that they work. I'm going to have to break this, and I'm going to have to put a fitting in here that uses these type of flare fittings. It's going to leak. I have been fighting and I cannot get it to stop leak. Doesn't matter. I know it's leaking down out here, and I'll be able to see that. What I'm really concerned about is that my line set connections under pressure do not leak. And at this point, I am going to take you inside, show you that this is under pressure right now, put some soapy water on my inside connections, and show you where the leak is. Alright guys, we're inside. I want to show you right there. See the bubbles coming out of this flare fitting on the bottom right here. This is the exact same type of flare fitting that I said I needed to replace, and it's leaking. If I spray my 1/4 inch side, it's not leaking, but this fitting is not made for the pressure of AC, so I am going to replace that fitting. My first step is going to be to replace this one on the 1/4 inch side, the other one on the 1/4 inch side. After that, I have to break my setup that I know don't leak, and I have to put in another line that probably does. But the only thing that I want to do is pressurize the line and make sure my line sets aren't leaking. I think I got her done, so we will see what happens. By the way, I want to share something with you. Excuse me while I take the camera out of here. If you notice way back there, that rear mini split is registering a temperature of 73 degrees. The only thing that's running on that thing is the fan, because obviously it doesn't have any cooling. That 73 degree temperature is based off of the cooling effect from the front unit. My cooling fans on my equipment cabinets have not kicked on all day long. One of the other things that I want to show you, current temperature inside my bus right now is 67 degrees at my equipment cabinets. That is amazing, guys. I am so happy. By the way, I do want to point out and make sure that you're aware that I have a dual zone mini split. The head unit that is running right now, that is set to 66 degrees, is the smaller of the two. I have a total of 20,000 BTU. This bus right now, even with all this exposed metal that you see on the sidewalls on both sides, where my emergency hatch is, everything like that, it is cold in here, guys. It is cold. I am so happy. When I get that rear unit working, I will be able to turn this bus into a deep freezer, and that makes me happy. So anyway, I am going to continue what I got to do. I'm going to get those fittings replaced, and when I do, I'll bring you back and show you that nothing's leaking, and then we're going to go to the proverbial vacuum test again and see what happens. But this is Monday, August the 4th, and we'll see what comes next. Alright guys, I'm back. It's Monday. It's after 8:30. I think I may have solved all my problems. I don't know. I am not going to count my chickens before they hatch. At this particular point in time, I did turn my compressor on, adjusted the regulator. I've got 115 psi pumped into my line sets. Seems to be holding. I do have a very small leak, but the very small leak is on my apparatus. That is actually applying pressure, so I actually figured that would happen. The one thing that I can tell you is that I did change out all of the fittings, both 1/4 inch and 3/8, and I'll show you that. But I did get all of those changed so that they're all right. None of those leak, except for one that is connected to my apparatus, and it is a very small leak. So all of my leaks on the inside are gone. I just verified that before I came out here and started this video, but I'm going to show you just in case you don't believe me. So let me try to move the camera, and I'll show you what I got done over here on the mini split side. So the first thing I want to show you is that I changed this fitting back here. Put one of those high pressure flare fittings on there. I changed this one right here. Put one of those high pressure fittings on there. I did change out this line so that I could get the fittings that I need. It is actually not leaking. Funny enough, the leak that I have is right here on the thread side of this flare fitting into this T. And that goes up into the inside. None of the other stuff here is leaking, and I will show you that. And you will see bubbles coming out right here because the flare side of this is still leaking. But if I go back to my 1/4 inch, douse it, no bubbles. Everything up here, no bubbles. Everything down here, no bubbles. Everything there, no bubbles. Come right here, and if you watch it, you'll start seeing the bubbles coming up. You can see them right there on the thread side of this flare fitting. I'm hoping when I move this down to here and get that all tightened up and get it, it is in a bind right now, but when I get this down here and out of that bind, I'm hoping that goes away. Find out when I run the vacuum. So at this point, let's take this inside. A nice big bubble right there, you can see it. Just popped it with my finger. But so now let's go inside and I'll show you what I got done inside. And I'm going to let this sit overnight. I'm going to protect my compressor and leave it outside so dew don't get into the motor, but we're going to let this sit and see what happens. Hopefully it don't kick on overnight. So let's run inside. All right, so here we are inside. This is my 1/2 inch line coming from my rear mini split. This is a factory line set with a factory connector going into this 3/8 1/2 inch to 3/8 adapter. I replaced this particular flare fitting right here to one of the correct flare fittings. As you can see, it's still wet from soap. There's no bubbles. One of the other things I did, this is the factory 1/4 inch high pressure side. This is a factory fitting. I added this flare coupling, and then I changed out the fitting right here so that it would match. So everything is matched, everything is solid, everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. And if I spray this, you can see there are no bubbles anywhere. That is a good thing, folks. Holy crap. I just needed to figure out a way to pressurize these lines so I could figure out what was going on. And I think I got it figured out. I will tell you, I am making an assumption, and I hope it doesn't make an ass out of me. But I am making an assumption that the line set connections back to the head unit, factory to factory, are not an issue. I have not messed with them. So at this point, I think what I'm going to do, even though I know I have a small leak and I know it's going to be dropping some, I am going to let this sit overnight under pressure. Tomorrow morning, I am going to remove my apparatus, assuming I don't have any major like leaks that pop up overnight. But I am going to remove my apparatus. I am going to connect everything back up the way that it's supposed to be, and I'm going to run a vacuum. And then tomorrow evening after work, I'm going to let the vacuum run for several hours during the morning, shut it off at lunch, and let it sit. And then after work, I'll bring you back and see if we can actually charge that rear unit and get it running. If I get both of these running, this bus will be a refrigerator. I can't wait. Anyway, pressurizing the lines was the trick I needed. I got it figured out. I got her done. And I figured out where my leaks were, at least on the surface. I mean, the only other possibility that I have for a leak is in my head unit at the back of the bus or the connections that go to the head unit. If I still have a problem, then I will go back there and focus on that. I still have my apparatus. I can still connect it up. I can still check. But I am going to make an assumption that they are not the problem at this point. And this area right here was. And in all fairness, the problem was my 3/8 extension from here to there. Both sides of this, the flare fittings were leaking. They were very, very, very lightly leaking, but they were leaking, and therein lies where I think my problem was. So at this point, I'm going to shut it down for today. We're going to let this sit, and we'll be back. Alright guys, it is late Tuesday evening, it's after work. I got up, as I said I would, early this morning before I started work. I removed my pressurizing setup, connected everything back up, ran my vacuum gauge, and realized very quickly that it was still leaking somewhere. If you remember yesterday, I had said that I did know that I had a small leak in that one fitting. And I think that is still pervasive, so what I did was I came back out here on the lunch break and I put in a flare seal on that. I can tell you that it slowed the leak down tremendously. I was hoping it would stop it. This vacuum pump has been running for over 2 hours right now, and as you can see, there's still vapor trails coming out of the vacuum. So I still have air coming into the system from somewhere. What I intend to do right now is actually turn this off and close up my manifold and watch the pressure gauge. I did check it earlier. I would turn the pump off and watch it for about an hour, and there was no discernible pressure change from at least my eye perspective in over an hour. None whatsoever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to leave the manifold connected. I'll leave it set up overnight and give it the extended amount of time to see if there's any level of leak. If there is, I am going to assume that my flare fitting on that one connector is bad. I'm going to redo that flare fitting, and hopefully that will take care of it and get her done. But I really don't know. I'm at a loss. If that don't work, I am going to have to open up my rear head unit and check those connections back there and make sure that there's no leaks back there. It was a serious pain to get all that stuff tied up and closed up and everything routed. I'm hoping I don't have to go to that point. I'm hoping it's this one fitting right here with the line set extension, because so far everything that I've found with my pressurized setup has been with that line set extension. So I'm hoping that if I fix this one fitting, it'll take care of the problem and I can move on to other things bigger and better and brighter. But I just wanted to share you a Tuesday update, and so at this point I am going to shut the pump off, close the manifold, and let it sit overnight, and I'll bring you back tomorrow and show you the results. Well, welcome back everyone. I think we finally have success. If you will look at that gauge, you will see that it is still sitting solidly at a -30. It has been that way for over 24 hours. I do want to point out that at lunchtime today I came out and put my vacuum gauge back on it again just to make absolutely sure. And one of the things that I figured out that I was worried about and chasing yesterday is that vapor trail that's coming out of the top of that vacuum pump is not from my line set. It's from the pump itself, and I figured that out by turning the manifold off. And with nothing connected to it and it's just working on itself, it's still blowing that out. And I also noticed that there is some oil underneath that cap as well. So that vapor is coming from my pump, not my line set. That sucks. It's a reliable tool to validate whether there's vapor in the lines or not. Looks like I don't have that anymore, but one of the things I did find is that in all the previous work that I did, if there's no leak within about 10 minutes, a vapor trail is gone. You do let it run longer just to make sure and to completely vacuum out the line set, but So at this point, I am going to call this a success. The only thing that I did was put a flare seal on that one fitting, tightened it down, and that seems to have done the trick. Because it's raining and because it's late, I'm not going to do anything with charging the lines or anything right now. I'm going to go ahead and let this sit overnight again, and then hopefully tomorrow, where I can monitor it, we'll get the lines charged, get the unit turned off, get the lines charged, and see what happens. So I wanted to give you an update. It is Wednesday after work. It is August the 6th, and I think we finally have success. Let's see what happens. Well, welcome back, YouTube. It is Thursday, August the 7th. It is after work, and we got a story to tell. This story is filled with triumph and disappointment. I am going to walk you through my day-to-day so that you understand a little bit of both. So where I left you last, we were monitoring the vacuum gauges, trying to make a determination on whether or not all the repairs that I made on this mini split were going to work and hold, or if I was still going to be going down this troublesome road. Triumph. The gauges held. Everything, when I checked it this morning before I started work, was exactly where it was supposed to be. I kept monitoring it, making sure that there were going to be no differences or changes. Came out here on a break later in the morning and put that small charge of Freon into the lines like I did on the front unit and monitored that. I monitored that for 5 hours. Before I go any further, I do want to go back in time and let you know what I found this morning when I came down and checked my system like I do every single day. Overnight, at 5:15 this morning, my inverters shut down. Overnight, my batteries drained to the point where the inverters shut down due to low voltage. Batteries didn't shut down. The battery voltage was still high enough so that the battery BMS kept them online, so my servo was still online. All of those things still had power and they were still working, but my inverter shut down. Which also meant that my front AC unit shut down because it had no AC power. Seems like that might be a disappointment, but in reality, it wasn't. Because with my AC unit holding vacuum and me applying a charge to it and it holding that, I would have shut down the AC units anyway so that I could go through and complete that activity. So I shut off the breaker, let the solar panels work on charging everything, and unfortunately, disappointment, it was overcast all day. So my solar panels were not getting near enough power to actually charge my batteries. I left the ACs off, went through the day, everything was fine. Decided this afternoon during my lunch break that I needed to accelerate the charging of my batteries because it was taking too long and I wanted to continue on with the other activities that I had. So what did I do? I connected my generator, I fired it up, I got AC power going into my inverters, and I started charging my batteries. One of the accomplishments and benefits of the fact that my batteries died, I was also able to check, verify, and validate that my self-recovery mechanism within my solar system worked. As soon as the voltage was charged back up enough, my inverters came back on all by themselves. Major accomplishment. I was happy to see that. But over the course of the day, not enough solar to get my batteries charged. I barely got them up to 70%, and so that's when I decided to connect my generator. So herein lies part of the disappointment and what happened to me as I'm going through the day. I connect my generator. My ACs are off because I'm trying to speed up the process of charging my batteries, and I don't want an excessive drain on them. Well, as soon as I connect my generator, all of the temperatures inside the bus start to climb. Inverter temperatures, battery temperatures, all of that stuff, because they're pulling a tremendous amount of current trying to build back up and get recharged. ACs are off. There's no power. What I had to do was just basically write it out. More or less. All of my fans kicked back on again. This is the first time in over a week they've been on today. I used my temperature probe. I monitored my temperatures. My battery temperatures actually got up to 120 degrees. I was panicking. I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't know what was going on. So as a result, I did some things that I didn't want to do in order to try to solve the problem. And based on that and where we are right now in this story, I am going to take you for a walk and show you some of the other stuff that's happened. But before I do that, I want to ask you to please stay tuned for the remainder of this video and at the very end, because there are some very intentional and purposeful comments that I need to make about this entire process that I hope can help someone else. So with that, that's where we are right now. Let's take a walk. By the way, there's my generator. I did run it, and I ran it until it ran out of gas. I was hoping that it would at least get my batteries into absorption mode in conjunction with the solar that was coming in. Didn't make it, but it actually did recover the batteries to the point that they actually did register 100%, but they weren't in absorption mode. Ran out of gas, and so now I'm discharging my batteries. So that's one of the things I wanted to share with you along the way, and that's where we're at. Alright, coming back inside the bus, you can see that I am standing in front of my front unit. I did raise the temperature from 66, which was extremely hot, low, but I needed to do that because it was the only unit running. But because of the fact that my batteries died overnight, I decided to raise it to a more reasonable 70, so that hopefully the solar will keep up with it and that won't happen again. But at any rate, so front unit's working, everything is as it was, no issues, no problems. Came back up when I flipped the breaker without a problem. My automatic fan stuff is working. It's set for 70. I did, I don't know if you remember yesterday, I put it on turbo mode. I took it out of that. So it is just operating as it normally would on any given day at any given time. So that's that. Now let's take a walk back to the equipment cabinet. So let me show you what I got going on back there. So here I am at my 24 volt equipment cabinet. I will show you that my inverters are running really hot, and that's because they're putting out power to support my AC, and so they're running warm, which is causing my compartment temperature to rise, which created part of the panic mode that I had today because they got really hot. Going into my temperature gauge, I did raise the temperatures, and so as a result right now all of the fans are off. My compartment temperature is just below the threshold right now, but it's cooling off, so none of my fans are running, which is a good thing. As the night progresses, our temperatures are going to drop, and I shouldn't have a problem with getting this thing cooled back down, even though it was off all day. So just wanted to share that. Again, my fans are off. They were on all day, and that was adding to the drain of the battery. So just wanted to share that with you. The sun's going down. I'm losing solar. Solar has been helping at least offset some of the drain on the batteries, but I'm about to lose that, so I got to keep an eye on it, and hopefully there is enough power to get this thing through the night so that the solar panels can re-energize. I may have to go get some more fuel and put in my generator because I have yet to get the batteries fully charged back up. They were close, but they were not quite there. Coming over to the 12 volt side, nothing really here. I can tell you that the inverter on this side, because it's not really being used other than its own power consumption, is 15 degrees cooler than the inverters on the other side. So that is where that is. One of the things that I do want to tell you is that that little unit right there, although I always questioned its capability, functionality, and if it was actually helping me or not, I found out today it definitely was. Because one of the things that happened to me, as soon as I turned on my generator, the sun came out. When the sun came out, the solar panels lit up, started pumping all kind of power into the system, putting all kind of current into the batteries. Everything started heating up really quick, including the internal temperature of the bus, because the sun was beating down on all this uninsulated surface area that I have, which probably is going to be my next priority, but we'll see. But this thing was actually helping and preventing my equipment from going into a total meltdown, which is what almost happened today. So success, accomplishment, and disappointment at the same time. And now the final component that I want to share with you and let you know what's going on, because it's the whole intent and purpose of this ongoing saga, and that is the fiasco with my rear mini split. What I do want to share with you and show you is, look what I done got done, y'all. It's up, it's working. It's really kicking out some cold air. My mini split saga is over. It's done. It's working. One of the things that I do need to do based on some observations is actually get the rear unit service with Freon, because I don't know if you remember when I charged the front side, the pressure in the lines actually pegged out my gauge. It did not peg out my gauge when I did the rear unit. So I got it running. It's running well. It's putting out cold air. It's working well. I really don't have any concerns with it right now, but I do want to get it serviced to make sure that it's working at optimal efficiency, so that I'm not wasting battery electricity. But anyway, major accomplishment. Mini split saga is over. Now, on to the major disappointment of all of this. My intent was to carry everyone along who has been with me for this entire saga through the journey, through the success, and across the finish line. But because of unforeseen circumstances and situations out of my control that I had to make sure I resolved, I lost control of that ability and had to move quickly to get everything up, running, and back in play. So as a result, I did not get to take you guys along for the ride, sharing the step-by-step accomplishment as we went through everything. What I can tell you is everything that I did for the rear unit is exactly the same thing that I did for the front unit. Charged the line a little bit, got it up to 30. I monitored that for about 5 hours. That was good. Charged the lines fully, monitored it again, no change. When everything started escalating, I immediately came out here, re-energized my units, and got them back on. And it's unfortunate. I was really hoping I could take you along for the ride, but I couldn't. But I appreciate you being here. Thank you for following me to this point. And at this particular point in time, the mini split saga is over, and that's a wrap. I'm going to take you back outside. We're going to talk about a few other things, and we're going to close this out and get her done. Thank you for being here. And now some final thoughts and comments on all of the things that we've gone through together on trying to get these mini splits. What I'm about to say has nothing to do with the school bus build. It has nothing to do with the mini split. It has to do with life. One of the things that I want to share with you, and I'm sure that you could tell throughout the course of the videos, those points in time where I was discouraged, disappointed, frustrated, ready to give up. But the point that I want to make is a little bit of creativity, a little bit of determination, a lot of patience, and a lot of perseverance will get you through anything. Whether it's a school bus build, a problem in your life, it doesn't matter. Don't give up. I do not let myself be defeated. I do not give up. Although I may seem defeated, although I may seem discouraged, I never give up. And in everything that you do, whether it's a school bus build, fixing a car, working on your house, just getting through the daily grind of life, never give up. With that, I will say this is a wrap. Back to the next problem. Let's go finish a roof. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for sticking with me through all of this, and I appreciate you being here. Please like and subscribe, and we'll continue the saga.